actually asking for them as well too. So here's a couple areas. I'm going to show you guys exactly where we can talk about referrals. Now, I want to let you guys know you don't have to do this in every single area that I am about to mention, and you don't have to do every single thing that I'm about to teach you. Referrals is kind of an art, and it's what's going to work best for you and your personality, and just doing it more often. I would write this down, and I hope that I remember to say this again, because referrals, and this is really anything, it's less about exactly what you say, and it's less about exactly how you say it, and it's more about how you make them feel and about how many people you're saying it to. It's less about what you say and more about how many people you're saying it to and how you make them feel. It's less about what you say, and it's more about how many people you're saying it to and how you're making them feel. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you a bunch of strategies. It's going to be like kind of the throwing some spaghetti at the wall. You got to test some of these out and just do it. There's no right, or I shouldn't say there is a wrong way, for sure. There's no 100% correct way to do it. There's different people that do different things at different times with different languages that work. And so I'm just going to give you guys some ideas. So, hey, this is the presentation. This is the first page. This is the first page. I'm actually going to give you guys, I'm going to put this in the chat afterwards. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, no? Okay, thanks, Jess. Okay. This is the first screen. I'm actually going to send you guys a script from Rich Thawley himself. That's an introduction script that you guys can use to start your meetings. It's a little bit long, and we haven't actually trained on this in a little while. And so I'm not going to train on it today, but it's an incredible introduction script that you can use right here. And if I have time, I'll go back to it. But the first thing on here, it's easy, guys. We go on here, we're talking about it. So when we're starting our meeting, and I'm like, hey, Troy, so we're going to invest some time today. We're going to be talking about our mission and vision of No Family Left Behind and the incredible impact that we're making for people and families. We're also going to be talking about the ability to earn income part-time with our firm and join our mission in making an impact, helping families as well, too. And then, hey, Troy, by the way, as we go through things today, I'm certain that you're probably going to think of people who can value this information. So I'll say that again. So, hey, Troy, by the way, as we go through things today, you're probably gonna think of some people who could actually value this information. And I just get you to make a note of them, and we'll talk about them at the end, because we'll chat about how you can actually take part in our referral partnership. Does that sound fair? Perfect. So that's super easy, guys. First page. Hey, by the way, as we go through things here today, you're probably going to think of some great people who could value this information. Just keep them in mind. We'll talk about them after, and I'll show you how you can take part in our incredible referral partnership. So there's one area right there. The more touch points, the better. The more contact points, the better. The more touch points, the better. If you're bringing up referrals are weird when you don't talk about referrals throughout things. Recruiting is weird when you don't talk about it throughout things. Right? If you're bringing it up in the beginning, you're talking about how we're expanding, you're talking about how we get referrals, how normal it is. It's going to be very easy when the time comes to actually ask. Does that make sense? All right. So just wanted to mention that. So if we just talk about it, we're dropping some, I like to call it dropping bombs. We're dropping some bombs, right? We already talked about the business and recruiting aspect of our business. We talked about referrals right here. Okay. And then we're going to go through, the broker page. How awesome is this? Great. We're going to go through that. We're going to go through financial independence number. You're educating them. You're talking about it. You go through the rule of 72. And so at the end of the rule of 72, this is also where I talk about it. And so after I go through this page, I'll be like, hey, Troy. So, so far we've talked about how the power of being a broker allows us to get the best of the best for people and families. Hey, we were just talking about how we free up cash flow for people, how we get people on track for retirement, how everything we do is complimentary, and just some incredible financial education. And so would you agree that more people need to know about these concepts and strategies? He's gonna be like, yeah, of course. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's great. And I'm just out of curiosity, has anyone come to mind yet? Has anyone come to mind yet? You can just ask them right here. Whatever it is. Hey, has anyone come to mind yet? Boom. You already talked about it. So, hey, By the way, Troy, so up until now, we've already talked about how the power of being a broker is so well needed right now, how we're saving people money on everything. We're helping people get out of debt. We're showing people how to get their financial independence number, and it's all complimentary. Some incredible financial education. Don't you think that more people need to know about this? It's like, yeah, of course. Like, hey, just, does anyone come to mind? Like, who comes to mind right now? You can even ask them right there. I don't normally do that all of the time, but hey, there's an opportunity to do that. Or you could just say, hey, that's the reason why we work through referrals, from word of mouth to good people, from good people like you to other good people, is because more people need to know about this. So it's a good way to drop referrals in here. Okay, next page. You're going to go through this page. You're going to go through the 3 questions. The 3 closing questions on this page are, hey, Adam, do you think that Canadians are utilizing these products and services to the best of their abilities? No? Hey, how about yourself? Do you feel that you're utilizing these to the best of their abilities? No? Okay, hey, would you like to learn how? They're like, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, great, awesome. And then, hey, so the next step is we'll do an info gather. We'll gather some basic info from you and put together some options, da, 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 da. And then you can mention, as you go to this page, on the mission side of things, whoops, we're going to say, hey, so Adam, you just talked about how more people need to know what we do, and we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about an incredible opportunity to be able to actually earn income and go out and do that together. And then it's another referral part, right? Hey, if I could show you a way to make an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month joining our mission of helping families, is that something you'd be open to looking at? You're just asking them right there and then. A lot of people wait until this page to close on the info gather, to close on the business side of things, to close on referrals, but you can bring it up on this page as well too, just another area. Okay, you can also bring it up on this page. So there's so many opportunities to be able to bring this up for people as well. Okay, moving on. Pace of time, because I have about a few minutes left. I just want to show you guys. Actually, I think I have one right here. Yep. Next page where we can ask for referrals is on the info gather. It actually says it right here on all of the info gathers. It says it right here. And so what I like to say when I'm talking about referrals, I'm like, hey, and so at the end of this meeting, I'm like, hey, so, Adam, as we get back together, I'm really excited to do this, this, and this. So I'll say his goals back to him. I'll start selling him the dream on how incredible the client plan is. I'll be talking about what it's going to do for him, his kids, his family, peace of mind, providing hope, decreasing. I'm gonna talk about that at the end of this meeting. And then I'll say, hey, Adam, as we put this incredible plan together for you, and it helps you and your family in every way, would you be open to referring 50 to 100 people to me? And then I'm going to see what he does. A lot of times people are just going to laugh. I think I usually say 100 to 200 because it's more ridiculous. Hey, 100 to 200 people. Sometimes people are like, yeah, all right. They're like straight face. I'm like, all right, let's go. But a lot of people, they just kind of laugh and whatnot. And then I'm like, hey, you could refer 100 to 200 people to me, but hey, on average, most people are very excited to share this with at least 5 or 10 people that they know they love and care about. Does that sound fair? Awesome. Is that simple? Does anyone have any questions about that first part? No? Is this straightforward? Is this really easy? Are we going to ask for more referrals?
We're supposed to be practicing on them.
Yeah, of course. So that's the easiest way. And I wanted to keep this stuff super simple today. That was super simple. This is one of the best areas to do it at, is the info gather. And then again, as well, too, if you, for whatever reason, haven't asked yet, you can also, when you go to do the carryback, and you actually show them the plan and you add massive value. Hey, remember last time we talked about, we were going to refer like 100 to 200 people. Awesome. I'm like, hey, do you have that list? You got that list? A couple hundred people? I say it again, even if we already joked about it. And I'm like, hey, I'm just kidding. We already talked about, 5 or 10. So in terms of those 5 or 10 people, who comes to mind? And then you want to start asking them some questions. Who comes to mind that just had a baby? Who comes to mind that's, just got married? Who comes to mind that has a professional job? Who comes to mind that is a business owner? Who comes to mind that runs a corporation? Who comes to mind that, could really use what we value? Here's another thing about communication and asking quality questions. When you're consistently asking quality questions from people, is that if they have children, you've asked them about their family, where they live, where they work. Hey, you told me that you work, in the oil field. Don't you think that, other people in your same position would, enjoy this? Who do you work with? Who are your top three friends at work? There's another question. And if they're getting stumped, like, who are the last 5 people that you texted? Pull out your phone. Who are the last 5 people that you texted? It's simple. It's just asking. It's just asking, right? People are afraid to ask. That's the thing. But if in your heart of hearts, and Adam's going to talk about this today, the selling side of things, is if in your heart of hearts that what we do is good for people, which it is absolutely world-class, and we're transforming lives every single day in this team, if you really focus in on that, you're going to get way more referrals. The reason we don't ask for referrals is why? The same reason why we might not make more phone calls. We're kind of selfish. We're thinking about what they're thinking about. We're thinking about if we're going to get a referral or not. We're thinking about maybe getting rejected or them saying no. They say no, it's all good. You're going to go help a bunch of clients anyway. Sometimes you'll get 1 or 2 referrals. Sometimes you'll get 0. Sometimes you'll get 10 or 20. Right? It doesn't matter. Just ask and allow the cards fall where they may. God has divinely guided our paths in the sense of putting the right people in front of us. If we truly believe that everything is happening for us, you just got to do your part, do your job, do your part of the work, and the right people will fall into place. Okay, so that is talking about referrals throughout the presentation. And Adam asked me to chat for about 20 minutes. And so I'm going to take 2 more minutes or so. I'm going to send this document to you guys, because after you guys have helped clients, is you can now reach back to all of your past clients. You can reach back to all of your past clients and you can call them. Hey, small talk. I wanted to let you know things have been phenomenal in business. We're growing year in and year out. We're excited to finish 2023 strong and continue expanding in multiple provinces. Hey, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to lead our team in helping make a positive impact for people and families. Insert reason why. I put a couple examples here. Do not say all 5 of these, please. Pick one that you resonate with. You can tell them, hey, I love making difference in people's lives. We don't want to pay out insurance claims, but it's happened. It's been a blessing to have peace of mind financially for families. Hey, we're making a difference because of this. Maybe you insert a client example you just heard on Tuesday night training. You can tell them, hey, we're focused on growing and expanding and licensing 25 new people by year's end. Here's another one. A lot of Canadians feeling the residual impact from COVID. The wars, government changes, inflation rates are continuing to rise. Interest rates have gone up constantly. There are people who don't want to make more money, but they need to make more money. And you're kind of disturbing and intriguing a little bit. And then you go into one of these 3 options, right? If you're asking for recruiting referrals, our business now, hey, it's very flexible. We have a hybrid system where we can work from anywhere. All the training's provided. We just had someone named Nick Gamel. He got licensed in October. He's already made $100,000 part-time with our, or sorry, I guess he's not part-time anymore, but he got started part-time and now he's full-time. He's made over $100,000 in his first, 6-8 months with a license. Just confirm time frames. I forget exactly the time frame, but put an example in there. Hey, I'm curious. Who do you know that's looking for part-time work or full-time career transition, or who would be good at what we do? Start talking about some quality. So this is just an example. I'm going to send this out in the chat for you guys. I'm not going to spend any more time because I don't want to take up any of Adam's time. But this is just a really simple script that I developed over time. There's a direct recruiting script, a recruit referral script, and then there's a client referral. There's a client referral in here down too. Hey, I'm looking for people that are family. I'm looking for people who just bought a house. I'm looking for people, going through a rough time, who's working 2 or 3 jobs. By the way, I promise to treat them with the same quality and care and compassion as I did for you. I'm so passionate about educating people and helping them live life with less stress, more peace of mind. Who comes to mind first? And so, guys, the success in our business is looking at this as an ultra marathon, not just a marathon, an ultra marathon. The phone call, calling for referrals, calling for recruiting, calling for clients, calling people, following up, It's an ultra marathon in our business. The person that's decided that they're going to stick around here, you decide that you're just going to make the calls regardless of the outcome, regardless of the result. You're going to get lots of referrals. You're going to get lots of business. You're going to get lots of people in front of this education. So I'm going to send this out. Very last thing is this is a little text that you need to coach your people on. If someone's going to give you referrals, this is, you text this to them and they text this to the person that they are referring to you. Because there's nothing worse than calling someone and they're like, I don't know who you are. Why are you calling me? So if you get your client or your recruit or whoever it is to text this to the referee first, they know you're going to be calling and it edifies you. Hey, my friend Kyler runs a financial broker. He's partnered with 50 major financial firms. He provides world-class financial education strategies and helping people in a major way, including me. Hey, I passed your name and number along to him as a referral. I think you'd value it as much as I did. He simply wants to have a quick, friendly conversation, introduce himself and go from there. Please take his call. He's very friendly, positive, passionate about what he does. Imagine your people that you're getting referred to are getting this text that's already pre-framed. You're already edified. They're going to be looking forward to that phone call as well too. So with that being said, appreciate you guys. That was a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, but I want to send that script out to you guys as well too. The thing is look at that script. I would recommend everyone on here book a meeting with your direct trainer or your MD or your SMD and practice that referral script. Go back and forth and then make it part of your daily calls. Every day you're going to call one person and ask for referrals. Imagine if you did that every day for the next 60 days, how many more people you'd have to talk to, recruits, clients, everything. It's going to be awesome. So that being said, appreciate the time. I'm going to bring up Mr. Adam Dawe. He's going to be talking about selling. I don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about in terms of this, but if we think about, terms of success comes from adding lots of value. And Adam has built an incredible business, him and Savannah, of course, an incredible frontline leadership team where we're always doing what's right. We're always helping families. We're always going out there and making a big difference as well, too. So couldn't think of anyone else to train on anything other than Adam because he's been around the longest. He's built some incredible leaders and he's got some amazing wisdom to share with us today. So let's all welcome up Mr. Adam Dawe.
Boom, boom. All right, buddy. Sounds good. Great message from Kyler. Let's give it up for Kyler. That was a great message, by the way. It really was. And hey, I'm looking forward to today. We're going to have some fun of this. And all right, I'd be curious to know, really quickly, just before I pop into things, what were some quick takeaways? What were some of your guys? What were some of what you, when I say takeaways, what are some things that Kyler said that you are physically going to do? What were some of the things that Kyler said? Trish, what are some of the things Kyler said that you are going to do with your business?
Making that list every day to make a referral call. So actually implementing that every day on the contact list
For sure.
To implement that and just ask the question.
Yeah. Referrals are great because it takes pressure off people. They don't have to do anything. They just got to give you another person and then you'll go talk to that person. It's like a way to get you to not talk to them. They'll go talk to this person. They give you a referral. So referrals are easy, but you have to ask directly. Hey, Trish, who do you know that just had a baby? Okay, this is what a lot of people say. Do you know anybody? Do you know somebody who? And people's heads go blank. You have to be specific when you want something. Hey, Candace, who do you know that bought a house in the last 12 to 24 months? Which of your friends bought a house? What's their names? Let's talk to them. They're probably going to need this. Specifically ask for what you want, okay? As simple as that sounds, in the Bible, it says, ask and you shall receive. All right, Candace, let's have it. What was one takeaway that you are going to do in your business?
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, Kyler, that was awesome. I think just all of the different touch points, like so many, and I for myself, I do talk about it at the beginning. I do talk about it in the end. I'm getting more referrals in the last probably 6 weeks than I've ever had before. And just, like the rule of 72, I would never have thought So it's just planting the seeds in my mind. Like there's so many times or areas in that presentation that we can go, hey, how many people need to know this? Are you utilizing this? How many people do you know that need this information? So love that part. And then asking the specific questions so their mind doesn't go blank.
Exactly. Asking about it. And referrals will add up, you guys. You know, I know Kyler was sharing some of his. I just had a girl that on Thursday, I'm helping her to transfer about $275,000 over just to us. And she said, hey, my friend has about 150,000. You know, so 150,000, I mean, that's like, number one, her money's going to be in a way better spot. That's always the most important. Number two, that's going to be about 6,000 points. That's going to pay me like $4,000 to help one client, you know, as a referral. It's like $4,000 just shows up in your bank account when you're being good to people, you're helping people. You know, whatever that it is that you give out comes back to you. So I just want to remind you guys of this. First of all, one of my very, very favorite quotes in life actually does come from the Bible, but it basically says that to enter the kingdom of heaven, that we must become like children again. That's kind of the quote. So the way that I phrase that in my own mind is basically to live a great life. Like just to live a great life, you have to act like a kid. And, you know, and kids are so good when it comes to selling. Here's why. I'm there's some comedic, it's funny to think about. So this is funny, but there's also some real truth to this. Like when Dominic wants something, he does not stop asking. Kids will keep asking for what they want. They're not going to stop. If you have kids, you know that. Not to mention, how passionate are they about it? They're not just asking. They're not just being like, can I have it, daddy? They're like, they want it. I want that. Like, can I have it? And they're going to find different ways to get it. And they're not going to stop until they get what they want. So if children will do that, why don't most adults do that? At what point did it, because every single one of you used to do that, myself included. Are you still doing that? Are you asking passionately for what you want until you get it? And the reason why is kids, children don't have any concept of rejection. They don't. But as you become an adult, you start to worry about what people think about you. What are they going to say? You fear judgment, so you don't ask. So I'll come back to my original statement that to live a great life, you got to be like a kid again. Okay, and I'm going to share one more concept that really helped me in my own mind, that I hope it will help you guys, and then we'll get into some great stuff on sales. Selling, however you want to call it. All right. Now, does everybody out there have a family of some sort? Whether it's brothers, sisters, parents, kids, you got something, right? Now, I just want you to think about this. In the last 12 months, have you had to forego anything because you didn't have enough money? Is there anybody who's like, I couldn't do this, I didn't have enough money? I had to say, right, there's probably something for almost everybody. Now, it's one thing when it's for us personally, right? Like if I can't get something for myself, it's one thing. But if I can't get something for my kids, it's kind of a different level. Anybody who has kids understands that, right? It's just different when it comes to your kids. You know, you just want to give your kids literally everything. So I came up with a concept in my mind that helped me, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And I want you to really think about this. I never, ever, ever, ever want to say no to my children that they can't have something because daddy didn't work hard enough. That's it. Like, the only reason in this business you're ever going to have to say no to family members financially, the only reason is because you didn't work hard enough. This is a business that will give you anything that you want if you're willing to go to work for it. And so this was my concept. I thought, if I never want to have to say no to anything ever again financially, I call it being no'd out. Like, I took so many no's. People said no to me so many times. I took it personally so that I would never have to say no to my kids or my family. Make sense? And because I heard no so many times, I heard it from so many people, thousands. I never have to say it to my kids. I never have to say it to my wife. If my wife wants something, and she's frugal, by the way, she doesn't like expensive things, but if she wants something, sure. What do you want? Like, what do we need? Right? So I want you to think about that for your own self. Never having to say no to anybody, your mom, your dad, your kids, your loved ones, your spouse, because you took all the no's. Would you be willing to face so much rejection in your life that you never had to give it to your kids? I was like, let's go. Right? Here's one more thing I'm going to share. These are mentalities, and the mentality is more important than the actual. Here's another mentality that just came to me. All right. Listen, you can't reject me. I'm unrejectable. I don't feel it. I don't feel anything. I feel nothing. You can say no to me 1,000 times. I don't feel the rejection. I don't feel it at all, ever. I never feel it. I never have. I shouldn't say that. In the very early going, I did. But something changed, and I was like, you can't reject me. I'm just going to keep calling you. You can't stop me from calling you. I'll keep calling you back. You can't stop me from texting you. And I'm trying to help you. You literally can't say no to me. I'm unrejectable. And when you get to the point where you're literally unrejectable, and you don't care what anybody says, you don't care what anybody thinks, you literally don't care at all. There's just something about it where people eventually like, all right, fine, whatever, let's do this, right? So become unrejectable. You need to get to the place where you can hear no 1,000 times and it just fires you up. You get more excited. You're like, bring it on. You have to get to that point, you guys. You have to get to that point. Otherwise, if you don't love rejection, if you don't find a way to love it, like, bring it on, right? Give me more rejection. I dare you. Let's go, right? I'll take it all. If you don't get to that point and you don't find a way to love it, the more rejection that you go through, the more it pushes you down. You want to get to the point that the more rejection that happens, the stronger you get. The more rejection that happens, like, the crazier you get, the more excited you get. I'm like, oh man, if I get 10 no's, I'm like, I'm so close to a yes. It's coming. I can't wait. It's all how you think about it. It's all how you feel about it. That's so important. I love it. I love it. That's stuff and that's the key. Like, we're talking, I'm going to get into it right now, but I wanted to start with those first few things because most people, when it comes to rejection, they won't even try. They won't even ask. They're like, oh, I don't know what to say. I'm nervous. Okay. You can't win that way. You need to be all in 100%. All right. Just wanted to start with that. Those two mentalities, I swear to God, like, were just deeply ingrained. I never want to say no, so I'm going to take all the no's, and you can't reject me. I'm unrejectable. Not going to happen, right? And that makes you fearless. It makes you unrelenting. It just makes you unstoppable. All right, cool. Okay, let's get into it. You want to make more sales? I read a quote one time, and this is what it said. It said, sales, listen to me, everybody, listen, sales, and we're in a sales-based business. In sales is either going to be a very low-paying position or a very high-paying position based on one thing, your ability to sell. That made sense to me. If you're in a sales business and you don't do any sales, you do not make any money. That's how it works. But if you make lots of sales, you make lots of money. If you can also teach people to do that, well, you could be set for life. So let me ask you this. How good are you at closing? Are you a closer? Well, let's find out. All right, a couple things. Number one, be a professional. Be a professional. Okay. Now I'm going to give a small example. If the first thing is dress, and this is not, as I say this is not to kind of call anybody out who's wearing a t-shirt or, but before this meeting, I ran upstairs to change my shirt. I'm not going to show up to a meeting with a t-shirt. I'm a professional, right? And, and I only had a minute to do it. I had to run up the stairs, but you're just always, do you dress like a professional all of the time? If you're on a meeting, are you dressed like a professional? Because at the end of the day, it's the way that you see yourself that matters the most. Because really, people see you as a reflection of how you see yourself. So how do you dress when you're out and about? Do you dress professional? Do you look like somebody? Do you look like somebody that if somebody had $1 million to invest, they would just look at you and think, yeah, that person could probably help me. Because at the end of the day, everybody makes opinions. And it's based on their first interaction with you. And you can't change a first-time opinion. So you better put yourself in a great position all the time. Second one, be a professional. Your level of knowledge. Listen, let me ask you a question. Are you studying how corporate whole life policies work? Are you studying how, universal life policies work? Or do you have the knowledge? If you were to sit down with somebody and they were to say, hey, I've got all this money, I want to put it into, and I own a corporation. Do you have the knowledge? Be a professional, right? You have to be, but you got to be studying. You have to be studying. Practice your craft. You got to study this stuff. Third point, social media. Social media. Are you a professional on social media? If somebody looked at your social media right now, would they say, wow, this is a professional? This is somebody that has value. This is somebody, just by looking at your social media. And by the way, that is your business card. We don't use business cards anymore. You guys notice that? When's the last time you got a business card? Doesn't happen very often. Your social media is your business card. So are you professional? What's your brand? Because people are watching. So are you talking about recruitment? Are you talking about, financial independence? Are you talking about this stuff? All right. Next thing, when it comes to being a professional, how much value are you bringing? I want you guys to think about that. How much value are you bringing? A lot of that comes back to social media, by the way. Now, a lot of that comes through one-on-one appointments and bringing value to people's lives and value-based conversations. But are you focused on bringing value to people's lives? That's a big one. You see a lot of people's social media, and it's just not any value to it. It's just like, look at me, look at me, just look at me. It's like, where's the value there? What are we looking at? What do you stand for? What are you committed to? What's your brand? How do you help people? What do you do? But so much of it is just nonsense. It really is. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm trying to just make sure that I'm bringing to light. If you're on social media, bring value. something that somebody will listen to say, that makes good sense. I want to do that. That's going to make my life better. And that all falls into your brand. That all falls into your brand. Like it or not, we all have a brand. You are a brand. You're a brand. So what's your brand? What's your brand? If I scrolled through the last 7 days of your social media and I just looked through, I'm going to find a brand, no matter who you are. And I'm going to look at it and I'm going to think, wow, that's great. Or I'm going to think, oh, interesting. That's not, everyone has that same intuition to see something and create an initial judgment about it. Okay. So let me ask you this. Are you branded as a professional? Would people think, wow, right? This is a professional. This is somebody that's worth following. All right. So you got to be a professional. You guys, we're in the business of helping people with their money. Now, next thing, be a closer. Got to be a closer. Master your craft. For a lot of you right now, if you've been here for, kind of a few months, then yeah, you know what? It's okay to have somebody helping you with your appointments. We want to help you with your appointments. But I remember working with Greg thinking, I don't want Greg doing my appointments. I want to do my appointments. I want to be the one building my base. I want to be the one doing it. Now, I'd still call Greg in for some big appointments for sure. If there was a bigger appointment, I'm like, man, I don't, this is Greg, can you help me with this? But like 95% of the time, I want to be independent doing my thing. Now, another question I want to ask you is this. Are you studying closing? Are you studying it? I want to give you a few resources. Okay. Master the Art of Closing would be probably the best, or Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. You really got to study it. Study it. Okay. Study closers as well. If you know people that are closing lots of business or closing lots of recruits, study them. How do they speak? How do they dress? How do they carry themselves? What's their brand? Study them. But most of all, study yourself. One of the things that changed really the trajectory of my career, I was not closing very much at all, you guys and girls. And I was just frustrated, so frustrated. And I was really working and I'm like, I wasn't closing things. I wasn't in a great market, number one. I had to get into a better market. How did I have to get into a better market? I had to develop myself as a professional. I had to start seeing myself on a higher level, that I was worth sitting with better people. But this is a huge game changer for me, and it might be for you. I recommend that you start audio recording your meetings and then listen back to yourself. I learned more studying my own self than I did anybody else. And I would take everything that I learned from Tom Hopkins and Brian Tracy and all of these different, Zig Ziglars and all of these top sales guys. You guys, I was sold out. I was listening to sales. I read every sales book I could find. I listened to every sales audio I could find. I was obsessed about selling because I couldn't do it. And then I started to study myself, and this is what I learned. And you might want to write a note of this. I wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was. If I was better, I'd be closing more. Make sense? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm like, I thought I was so good. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm so good. I wasn't closing anything. So I wasn't that good. And then I studied myself. I said, wait a second. When they asked me that question, I was weak on the answer. And I started getting better at the answers. And then I noticed I was talking too much. So I cut out what I was saying. I cut a lot of stuff out. And then I noticed I wasn't making strong recommendations. So I started making strong recommendations. But audio record yourself and you'll learn more. You'll learn more than anything by doing that. All right. Last thing that I'll touch on is this. Now, this is where a lot of people really need a lot of work. Okay. You got to be a hustler, you guys. You got to be a hustler. You got to hustle. You really got to work this thing. You got to talk to way more people, way more often. And again, think of this. Listen, okay, Candace, if I were to ask you, Candace, if you had a 24-hour period, and in that 24 hours, everybody was actually going to say yes and move ahead with everything you proposed, how many people would you talk to in 24 hours? Is it a lot? Yeah, of course it's a lot. If everybody was going to say yes, how many people would you talk to? And the answer is you talk to everybody. You wouldn't sleep. You have 24 hours. That's the mentality you need to adopt. Everyone's going to say yes. Now, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but they're going to say yes eventually if you keep talking to them. But why most people don't, it's fear of rejection. It's ego-based thinking. It's ego-based, and they're like, somebody's going to say no, I don't want to be rejected, so I'm just going to do menial tasks that don't generate anything because it makes me feel comfortable. But that's not how champions think, right? They're just after it. They're after it, right? Because they are unrejectable. You've got to be a follow-up fanatic. I will tell you guys this right now. You've got to be a follow-up fanatic. I could show you all text messages that I followed up with people more than 100 times. And guess what? Several times they didn't get back to me. Several times they didn't answer me back. But I'm going to get them eventually because I'm unrejectable. And I know it's going to happen, right? So I'm just going to keep going. Always have a list. Always have a list. Always have a list. Every day you should have a physical list of people in front of you. A physical list of who you're going to recruit and who you're going to sell to. Hopefully your recruit list is bigger than your selling list, because through more recruits, you're going to get more sales anyways. But do you have a list? Let me ask you a question. It's a great test. Did you look at a list of people today? Did you look at a physical list of people today and call each one of them and check them off as you went? Call, 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 call. The answer to that question is the answer to a lot of other questions. I hope that you did. If you didn't, I'm just going to encourage you tonight. Start up a simple list of 10 names. Call them all tomorrow. Don't stop till you're done. Okay? That's how champions do it. You've noticed I put in here all in daily activities. Okay? You got to be all in. To be in sales, you got to be sold out. To sell more, you've got to be sold out. You got to be sold out. If you want to sell more, you've got to be sold on what you're doing. You've got to be completely all in. Now I've put track and attack on here. Again, that comes back to tracking what you're doing. Are you tracking and competing to be on the leaders boards? Like, do you have a list of people that you're following up with? Do you know how many, points all of the clients are going to lead to? Are you tracking your business? Every day, tracking it. One of the quotes I want to just sort of leave you with as we wrap up is, if you want to get paid like a professional, treat yourself and treat your business like a professional. I mean, professionals, they get paid lots of money, right? You guys know that, right? Professionals make lots of money. But if you want to get paid like a hobby, treat it like a hobby. Who knows how much you get paid for hobbies? Right? It's nothing. So my encouragement, you don't get paid anything for hobbies, but professionals get paid a lot of money. So my encouragement for you guys, we're 6 months into a new year. 6 months. It's 180 days. It is a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours that just went by in the last 6 months. I want to encourage you, please, whatever happened in the last 6 months, I want to encourage you to review those last 6 months and get laser focused and committed to the next 6 months, one day at a time. And raise your level of professionalism, raise your level of value, raise your level of conviction, raise your level of follow-up, raise your level of prospecting, raise your level of everything. And I'm just going to go ahead and guarantee you that you're going to go raise your income. Because the money that you make, it's a perfect reflection of the value that you bring to the marketplace. Have you guys ever heard that? You guys heard that quote? The money you get paid is a reflection of the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. So increase all of that and just really have a lot of fun. You got to have fun with this thing, but you got to be professional. You got to see yourself at a higher level, and you got to work at a higher level. And if you'll do that, I'm going to tell you this right now. This company, World Financial Group, our company, will bring you more fulfillment, freedom, happiness than any other company I've ever seen, ever. And they'll pay you more money than you even ever thought possible. You just couldn't even imagine the kind of income you could make here while having fun, while bringing value. So before you move into the end of the year, this is a great time to self-reflect, self-audit, and just create a higher level of self. And there's only one thing that can come from a higher level of self, right? That's a higher level of living. Right? That's how it all goes. So, by the way, congrats to everybody getting some awesome paychecks tomorrow. Let's give it up for, there's a whole bunch of people making some great paychecks tomorrow. Okay. And I just want to let everybody know we're going to pop back on at 8:05. We're going to jump onto the 699 code for some awesome recognition. I think Sierra's running our recognition tonight, but let's go out and be professional. Okay. Let's go make this happen. Let's do it big. Thanks to Kyler. He did an awesome job. Let's give it up for Kyler as well. And really excited to see everybody on the 699 code in about 5 minutes max. See you all soon.